This is Dale Matthews, and I cannot deny the reality that I'm sitting here with both Mike Jones and Bill Hunker. Hello, gentlemen.
Good evening, Dale. Good to be
Hey,
back.
what's going on? Yes, and Bill looks a lot better, and I'm thinking he's probably going to be a little bit more stable than he was last night.
I was terribly unstable, I know. I apologize.
Usually I'm the unstable one in these conversations.
Yeah.
But Mike, you look cold there, buddy, and it looks like there's both snow on the mountain and on your head.
Well, we have a kind of a dress policy on the show where I'm supposed to wear, a shirt like this, and which is awfully cruel because my car broke down at Weed here, and so I'm stuck out, and it's obviously very cold. You see, there's snow in the background there, of course.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I notice every once in a while those clouds look a little jumpy. I don't understand what's going on with the weather there in Weed.
Well, it's in a cycle.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, now that one of our friends who's running for county commissioner is going to be real upset that you're stuck with Weed and didn't tell him about it.
Yes. I could bring him some weed from here. It might not be what he's looking for, but
Oh, Rika Brown might like some too. You could
she
pull it up
might.
out of the ground, and well, not to smoke it, just to be a good steward of the land.
Yeah.
We're here tonight to talk a little bit about this endemic problem in our area, and that is simple denial of reality. And the easiest example lately is how the city council, the Grants Pass City Council, simply refuses to come to grips with the fact that they lost 80-20, and that there could possibly be, gentlemen, lessons to learn. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, I don't think that. I mean, this is a toughie, and I know that their egos are on the line here with this thing, and they just don't really want to face up to the fact that they blew it that badly. How they didn't know it well in advance of the result is, that's a whole nother ball game. But they should have known this was coming, and once it got here, and it was okay, you guys lost by basically an 80-20 margin. You would think that there'd be a little bit more humility involved, and that they would go, "Wow, we really messed that one up. What do you think, guys?"
Yeah.
But there wasn't any of that.
No, it was surprised me out of the entire group. We had everybody just saying, "Well, it was a good idea. We're kind of proud of it. We worked hard. We got it. Got what we wanted, and we have feedback." Not realizing the cost and the effort and so forth to get that particular feedback. And I would have thought that one out of that number would have said, "Well, guys, we kind of have to admit some things here." But I never heard, and maybe somebody did say that. I didn't hear it from any of them in the videos that I saw. But
well, it's important that we do hear it. See, that's the whole thing. If somebody's saying it, oh, by the way, I feel a little sorry, you're going to need to say it a little louder. You're going to need to be sure that people actually hear you, or they're all going to assume that they've got that same imperial attitude that the commissioners have, which we've seen so often.
Yeah, it's interesting to me where the disconnect must happen, because they felt, I would say the little I heard from the 3 or 4 that spoke, they really did feel that they had done something good, and you're thinking, well, who are they talking to? Are they all just having lunch together every day to congratulate among themselves? I mean, when they go out on the street, aren't there any voters who come up and say, "Guys, you're not listening"?
Well, no,
probably not.
Even when the people came to them at their meeting and held forth at length for a couple of hours, wasn't it? And they were telling them details about why this was a bad idea afterwards and after the vote. This is what really just throws me for a loop. After the vote and after all that, the mayor and Dan DeYoung Well, they really didn't have any reasons. They didn't have any reasons. What's the matter with you?
Well,
Maybe they weren't listening.
hang on a minute. Let's take a look at the mayor here real quick. Since you're talking about him, this is a great example, and I'm here and there's video, so let's play.
Oh, cool.
Let's play the mayor and his response to this whole thing. I have all of them loaded, just so you know.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Well, I certainly agree that it took a very brave council to try and tackle a county-wide problem. And the only thing that could generate that kind of revenue, as we found out, was some sort of sales tax. And so we knew that the city of Grants Pass voters were already paying $5.50 on top of the 58 cents that the county people pay. We pay that same 58 cents and then pay $5.50 more to try and pay for our city services, which I think we do a very good job of managing as far as the council and as far as staff. And so I think we asked a really tough question. We got a clear answer, and that really helps us go forward because we don't have to.
Now, that part right there, now here's where you have in the beginning, it's, okay, you know, we asked a clear question, we got a clear answer. Now here's where you have, like, you know,
Cognitive
Mr.
dissonance.
Hyde comes out.
Yes, right.
Yeah, it's like, so the second part of this is, but you guys, you know, it's too bad you didn't come up with the result that we wanted you to, because, you know, you were too stupid to do that. And so here's the rest of that.
Talk about that in the near future. But I do expect that it would be a chance for the voter to be more engaged this year in the campaigns of our county commissioners and of our 4 city council seats. Because it's important who sits up here, and it's important who sits over there at the county. And we know that our county-wide system has suffered through a lack of trust. Whether it's warranted or not can be argued all day long.
Here's another part, because we played these clips a few times.
Yeah.
This part of it bothers me a little bit, and he goes, well, whether it's warranted or not, you know, that's, you know, up to debate.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Perhaps. But I think he's telling us that he believes that it is debatable whether or not that it's a warranted thing. Those people over there, they're just good people. They're doing what the people want them to do. Don't you know?
Yeah, all 20%.
Yeah. So anyway, that one always catches me as I'm going past. He goes, well, you know, whether it's warranted. And then he finishes up with the rest of it here.
The coup de grace.
But that trust level just keeps people from even thinking the issues all the way through. And then they see a simple concept of no new taxes. They don't have to articulate an argument.
Simple-minded
folk. Nope, nope, no. We don't have a good argument, so we're saying no.
Hey, yeah, there you have it.
And to him, in his mind, this sums up all the county's problems. You know, I'm in power here, and there's a bunch of morons that are citizens of this place, and unfortunately, I was unable to convey to them how important this was, and, you know, them being so stupid, they weren't able to, you know, figure that out for themselves, and here we are.
We were trying to reach their higher brain functions, and they
couldn't do it.
Nope. We don't have a reason. We don't have a reason. Nope. We don't have a reason. Yes. We're going to take the simplistic approach. No new taxes. And Roy Lindsay doubled down on that, buddy. He went through a whole imaginary dialogue he had with someone that was saying no. Well, what about the children that are being tortured on an everyday basis by their own parents? Nope. No new taxes. I have no reason, no idea. I'm not going to listen to you. I don't. I'm not listening to you, Roy Lindsay, and your higher intelligence.
Right. Yeah. Well, and this is obvious that these are conversations that they have amongst each other in private. It's clear that this is something that they think all the time, that people are just stupid, and we're the smart ones, and it's too bad we can't, you know, make them as smart as we are.
Well,
we
you
could,
know, they're trying so hard to educate the people and to let them know how they really should vote, and we're really working hard at that so that they will have the higher knowledge. And they're just not listening. You know, and I know what turned them off. They've lost trust, and it stops their thinking.
Yes. I always do that. You know, as soon as I stop trusting somebody, that's it, man. All I'm thinking is, no.
That's what they've done with us.
Yeah.
They've lost trust in the ability to count on the Grants Pass voters, and now they're not thinking. It's exactly what they're accusing everybody else. 80% is, you know, then you have to come to the conclusion that they think that 80% of their own electorate in Grants Pass are fools.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of people wondering if we were to put them in office.
Do you realize that just walking down the street in Grants Pass, that's 8 out of the 10 people?
Yeah.
I mean, you can just count them off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. You know, and that's it. You know, it isn't spread all over the county. It's in a little pretty tight area there to say, well, 80% of these people are out of touch.
So what is Darren Fowler's pitch to run for re-election?
You can get more of the same from me.
Well, I mean, I just don't. You know, why would he want to be the mayor of a bunch of dunderheaded, citizens? Why would he want to do that? Doesn't make any sense.
Because maybe he's going to sick Roy Lindsay on him, who's going to re-educate everybody.
They're going to try harder.
They are.
Yeah.
This does remind me of the people who were pressing for the levy. And you heard of Mike. You were in their meetings. I was in their meetings. They were saying things like, well, the people just didn't understand. Yeah, they understood. You're the ones that don't understand.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what? I couldn't imagine these guys running for office again, but Jan sends me stuff when I'm on the road, and she sent me another pitch for Channel 10 is starting up the next phase of their Unsafe in Southern Oregon or whatever the heck it is, and that starts on Monday, I believe.
Oh.
And so the levy season is nearly upon us.
Gosh.
Right.
Well, they started this even before the vote came through on the sales tax. These guys are not missing a single beat. They're just moving straight on ahead. And of course, they're going to say, if that's their next goal, and you know that it is, they've got to now start saying, well, we're going to put that behind us. You heard Mayor Fowler just saying that. We're going to put that behind us, and we're going to go on to the next things, which is a property tax. Tax? Do we want tax or tax? Which would you guys prefer, tax or tax?
Yeah, and this whole thing, going again over and over and over again, just shows that the people that are running the levy situation have the exact same contempt for us that Mayor Fowler does.
Yeah,
and
they spent a ton of money this last time.
This is what we have.
Well, Einstein would be proud. Time and time again, let's expect something different this time. But it's just in time for the holidays this year, and so I think we could you have cards and stuff and send them to each other, and kick off the campaign with your new corporate tax cards.
Well, another place where we saw denial of I'm sorry, Mike. I keep stepping on you. I don't mean to, but go ahead.
Well, how about a card that says, I made a donation to the new levy fund in your name.
Yes. And instead of doing that, why don't we just put it to the sheriff's department in your name?
Right.
Yes. Take all this money we're blowing every year trying to get these things passed and send it to the sheriff. He can use it.
Right.
Yeah, but you know what the signature line will say? The signature line will say, the city of Grants Pass paid for by city taxpayers.
Yeah.
We made a donation in your name with your city taxes to the next levy to help it pass. Or you could talk to Connie Roach, who's the county assessor, and she'll put out a pro-levy message in every statement that goes to property owners.
that should save us some money, shouldn't it, as a county?
You could get Lisa Shipley to work with the veterans, with the people in the retirement homes, and convince them that they ought to be voting for the levy too.
Yeah.
That was illegal, what she did. It was illegal, what she did. And the county commissioners listened carefully to what she said and then gave her a big raise.
Must be nice.
It's our county.
Well, moving on, Dale, with this denial in another whole area is where I've always met here with you, is the decrease in crime in general, United States, all the way down to state level, down to county level, and we do what we can to put it out there and say, this is reality, this is how everyone in the whole United States gauges and reports and so forth. So this is the official word. Now, is it absolutely perfect? No, it probably isn't exactly perfect, but everybody's using the exact same yardstick. And so when you say crime is up or crime is down, this is the yardstick they use. They don't come up with another one. And yet the denial on that is just as confounding in many ways as it is on any of these issues. You say, just a minute, here's where we are. Why is all the screaming over here for what isn't even true, but there's so much noise about it? And you say, let's just sit down with the facts, and then we can decide where we stand in this issue. Hasn't happened for years.
Now, you're going to be joining us on Monday, Bill, and you're going to lay out charts and graphs. That's a cool
It's who
thing.
I am, isn't it?
You're the charts and graphs guy, and then we will look at that, and I'll remind our audience, I always do this. I came into this argument thinking that can't be right. Crime is going down. It did. I had no personal experience with it, but it didn't occur to me that bad things were just going to go away. Really, and my guess would be, to let myself a little bit off the hook, is that they've sort of morphed over into property crime because there's hardly anybody looking at that, and maybe spousal crime and that kind of stuff. I'm not belittling that. I just, that's a possibility because there are bad guys out there. This is undeniable, and they're not all ISIS or coming over the border, as Cuff said. Just sow seeds of discontent and distrust, and that was just stupid. But the facts are on our side, and therefore, when the sheriff, whether you like him or not, and the Cuffs and SOS people say, no, it's out of control, well, or the state police are running the wheels off of their car. No, they're not. They're not. Yeah. Now, if you want to come to us with the facts and lay them out and be honest about it, okay, but don't lie to us.
Absolutely.
Well, until they come up with the...
Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
I'm sorry.
No, that's all right.
Until they come up with the feelings meter, the one that it tells us, well, there's a feeling in the county, and it's held by the majority of the people in the county, that crime is out of control. I mean, even that would be better than what they have now, which is they just say that there's, what matters is what people feel is going on, or is going on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, belief trumps reality.
Yeah. Now Simon Hare has talked a bit about putting an advisory question on the next ballot for reasons that surpass understanding. Citizens can't put an advisory question on the ballot, really? No matter how many signatures, we could have 10,000 signatures, and they won't let us do that, and they're not going to listen to us because we put a question on the ballot like, would you like to see a break from property taxes? Doesn't mean that's enforceable. It's just that would pass a message along. I would do that if I was county commissioner. I'd put that on the very next ballot. Would you like to see this? Okay, and it gives solid feedback if they'll listen to Cuffs, SOS, and Roy Lindsay.
Dale.
Go ahead.
Dale says that, but I think we've had a poll. We've had 10 of them in a row that tells us what the feeling out there.
Yes. Yeah. And but so what would be nice, in my opinion, would be if these fellows who are dead set on this would listen and maybe internalize this, but I keep coming back to what the people did with the city council. We can say, well, they need to get out more, and it's a funny joke, but the thing is that they don't need to get out more. They're sitting right there. The people brought themselves into the room and talked and talked and talked and talked to them, and it's now summarized by at least three of the counselors as they didn't say anything. They didn't say anything.
Yeah, I know.
What do you do about that, guys? Is there anything that can be done about that? They didn't say anything, no matter what your issue is.
I'm not aware of any medication that can help you with that.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. And I think that we're feeling the same way about them that they feel about the people who just voted. Well, nothing to be done about them. It's too bad.
But the tiebreaker, if you're wondering, he said, she said, no, the tiebreaker is the vote that took place.
Yeah, 70-30, or 70-20 almost, yeah.
78 to 22. It's 80% basically.
Yeah.
Well, a similar thing just happened in Medford with the Medford City Council. It was just announced last night. The Medford City Council had decided in their wisdom that they were going to ban, here's my understanding, I hope I have it right, dispensaries and pot growing. They were going to ban it within the city of Medford. And so last night they had a council meeting where people showed up, and they told them in no uncertain terms what they thought about this idea. Now, whether you like it or not, this is America, and we get to take votes, and people can say what they think. Well, unless Keith Heck is running the meeting, okay, or Roy Lindsay is running the vote, or Harry Mackin. I'm going to overturn that. Hey, wait a minute. Okay, so it is America for some people. Well, and they reversed their vote. The City Council of Medford reversed their vote and decided they'd put it up to the people to decide. All right.
Good.
Whatever the people decide, I'm for that. Whatever they decide.
Right, and it's a good idea, and it's too damn bad that marijuana, people that want to smoke marijuana, care so deeply about that they're going to show up in mass. Where are the people who are going to show up about the little teeny little things that add up to real stuff in our local government here? Nobody cares about that because it's not threatening to cut your marijuana supply off.
Well,
that's pretty sad.
Okay, so maybe one of the candidates for county commissioner has his finger on the pulse of the public. Go with something that they're interested in.
Right. I think, though, that you need to sort of divorce the point is they showed up. They cared enough about something. They showed up, and they affected change. Okay? Yep. That's how you do it, folks. But if you don't care, if you don't care about anything that's going on down here, don't ever complain. Don't ever let me hear you complain about what's going on, because I'm going to get really ticked off.
Well, so what are the times that we've heard this? Now, you guys know, right off the top of your head, what are the times where we've seen a lot of people show up and radically reverse, even though the commissioners say, oh, no, we were never going to do that? What are the times when they've shown up and radically reversed the direction the commissioners were going?
The most dramatic was the 7 cheese pizza.
Right. Can you?
Yeah, that was a big reverse.
Yeah, that was the 7 county IGA. And
several years ago, they were going to cut the animal shelter, and 200 people showed up at Basker?
They packed the place. Their plan was to accelerate. Look, they were going to put the animals to death faster. Let's just be straight.
Right.
Okay. And then people packed that place. I mean, it was against the fire rules for sure. But the fire guys, they never do anything about it. But it was absolutely against the fire rules. There wasn't room to move. And then the commissioners summed it up by saying, well, we were never really going to do that. And the whole audience just laughed in their face.
That's silly. Well, listen, but there's a very, very good argument in the examples that we're giving here that people have exactly the government they want.
Well,
exactly.
Yeah.
Right now, what it is screwed up as it is, all the examples that we've cited, you like it just like that because you don't do anything about it to change it otherwise, unless somebody's going to kill a dog. Okay, yeah. Then you'll show up. Somebody's going to take your marijuana away. Then you'll show up and do something about it. But you don't care about this other stuff. So listen, why should I care if you don't care?
Well, I'll tell you the answer to that, okay? And I'm not saying this, for political reasons. I'm saying this because I truly believe this. I've said this before. I'm saying it now. The thing is that the people here are used to not getting their way. They're not used to seeing a responsive government, and there's a real good reason for that. They're not used to giving a lot of feedback to the commissioners because they see what happens to people like me. I stand up at these things, and they try to hand me my head. Or I say something like, we're going to need to find solutions without you, and I'm not screaming at them and yelling and running around the room yelling woot woot, and I'm not using bad names like Keith Heck does. I'm not doing any of that. I didn't call him a slopehead. He called somebody else that. Can you imagine? Okay, so you're going to have to imagine. And so their action is that they're going to ban me from speaking. Really? For what reason? Well, because you say you don't need us anymore. Uh-huh. Well, then we're not going to let you speak. What the heck kind of rule is that? Now, when you see that kind of thing, how can you really blame people for being a little reluctant to stick their head in the noose?
Yeah, and there is something to that in that, nobody wants to be the guy who's looked down on as being the outsider. And that's clearly what's going on. If you play some of these tapes with the city council, they're the in crowd, you're the out crowd. Okay, and that's the way it is with all of this stuff. So when they see, Dale is the out guy, they don't want to be that guy. But even before Dale, the biggest problem, of the people that want to be involved, they see what happens to Dale and they don't want to be that. However, the biggest problem is apathy. And you don't have, listen, most people in this town don't even know there's a meeting. They don't know there's a city council. They don't know there's a county commissioner's weekly business session. They have no idea. And this is the biggest problem. It's, if you could put, and Bill has said this, what is the example you gave about if a person showed up at a weekly business session once every 5 years or something like that? What is that example? What are the numbers on that?
Oh, it's gone from me, Mike. It worked out to be...
well, whatever it was, 500 people would be at every weekly business session, and it was a minuscule number of a percentage of the population to show up at every single one of them.
Yeah, if you came to one meeting in 5 years, every single person in the county came once in 5 years, it'd be about 500 a week.
Well, and then look at what happened to Sandy Casanelli. Now, whether you like Sandy Casanelli or not, part of your perception about her is formed by what you've heard. I was sitting there. I was there at every meeting. You know that I am. And when they said Casanelli, that's a mystery because she voted yes 90% of the time. So where'd Casanelli come from?
Well, you're not supposed to say no ever. Don't you know that?
Right.
Jeez.
And so what happened to her was she got in, and then she started questioning things just as she had always done. And if I got in, I'd start questioning things just like I've always done. Well, the meetings are chaos. The meetings were not chaos. Well, says Dennis Weber, they were screaming and expletives. No, there wasn't. Well, it was all chaos, says Tony Webb. No, it wasn't. And so when you have that kind of character assassination, they ran her out of town. Okay, well, sort of. She came back. When was the last time you saw an ex-county commissioner, whether they went out with waves of glory or not, ever showing up again when they're no longer paid to be there? They're never there. So this proves that she still cares about the county and still comes up like this latest voters pamphlet. What's up with paying almost twice as much for 1/16 of the result. That doesn't make any sense. Okay, those numbers are not exact, but it doesn't make any sense. And she's asking, who the heck else is asking? So what happened is she got in office, and like a lot of people out there, they said, well, man, we don't have to work quite so hard anymore. And then she was completely on her own, except for me sitting there, completely on her own. And when they started beating up on her, there was nobody to say, hey, wait a minute, don't beat up on her. We elected her. And then when she started getting into all kinds of troubles with these guys who were, the whole staff, the entire building, she could walk down the hallway and they hate her. And there was nobody saying, hey, I'm actually here at the meeting and saying, good for you. I got criticized by one of her pals saying, well, how come Dale Matthews is always there for you? She said, well, where are you? Well, I'm a busy guy. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Fort Ockenden? Yeah, really, you could have been there, but you weren't.
It's interesting. I heard somebody talking today about this, that, originally when we set up government in this country, it was supposed to be really, really hard to get things done. You know how they always say that we want our government to get things done? No, we don't. I don't. Half of this, I want it to be very, very difficult for them to pass a new spending bill, because I don't want them spending more of my own money. So when you have 3 commissioners that vote yes on everything, they're getting a lot of stuff done. Hello, you don't want that. Yep. You want, if for the lack of a better term, a Casanoli. Somebody who says, hey, wait a minute, we need to question what you're doing
authority.
Here.
Question authority.
If you're going in there to question things and you have a little bit of a problem, you might say no, and you're trying to get the other guys to reconsider their vote. She didn't actually accomplish that much because they didn't. The other 2 didn't go along with her. They just rammed it right through anyway with their own 2 votes. So I don't know what they're so mad about. What, you had one person questioning government instead of 3 little robots doing the same thing every single time? Well, who wants that?
Well, one good example of something that happened, we've mentioned this a couple of times, I have, is Rob Brandis came in and he was talking about these vehicles that need to be replaced. They're too dangerous to drive, so we're going to sell them to the public, to an unsuspecting public. That's nice. And she said, well, I'd like to see them, because when he laid the pictures out in front of her, well, look how dirty they are. And she, hey, that's on the picture. It was actually a dirty picture. Okay, yeah. So she says, well, I'd like to go down and see these, and I'd like to take a couple of people with me. And so the commissioner said, yes, as a commission, inquiry, you can go do that. So she took Jack Allen Brown, who's an auto mechanic, and she took me to just videotape it. We get down there, and the first thing that we find out is that Rob Brandis had switched the tags, and instead of looking at the proper vehicles, we were looking at whatever vehicles the tags were on. Well, these were not bad vehicles, or they were different vehicles than before. Well, it's okay with me if they want to switch the tags as long as we're looking at the same vehicles they were talking about, but we weren't. He wanted us to look at other vehicles. Now, wait a minute. Now, who does that? So she came back and she said something about it. I'm almost done. And I said something about it, and we played videotape of it. So I got threatened by Rob Brandis. Why, that's outrageous. You did it. You admitted it. Got threatened by Mark Gatlin afterwards. Why, that's just insane. You haven't even seen the tape, Mark. What are you talking about? Is he going to run? Okay. And then the commissioners came up with this lame excuse that it cost $10,000 to refute this report. To refute the report, it's your report. And when the chief financial officer was asked to back this up, this recently happened with Keith Hick, which cost us $5,000 of taxpayer money to defend ourselves against these scurrilous allegations that we broke state law, right? Went down to try to find out what that was spent on, and they say, well, we have no records. They have no records of $5,000 being spent. So here was Dave Toller at the time. That's how long ago. Well, it was $10,000. Well, where's the $10,000 going? Next week, where's the $10,000? Where's the $10,000? What was the $10,000? And finally, the chief financial officer, almost done, comes in and she says, well, here's the report. And on the report that she cooked up, right words, Sandy Casanelli, arguing against her own report, cost us thousands of dollars. What? Can't you come up with something better than that?
Apparently not.
She wasn't arguing against her own report costing the county thousands of dollars. That's Insane. There's your insanity, Mark Gatlin.
Well,
War stories.
two things to note about that situation. Number one, never announce to them what you're about to do to find out if they're doing things dishonestly or not. Don't do that. Just show up. Number two, clearly, okay, clearly to me, prove me wrong, okay. This guy was trying to set up selling a perfectly good car to a friend of his for dirt cheap.
Well, one thing that we do know, that we're sure of, is that they were taking vehicles that he declared too unsafe to drive and selling them to the public.
Yes, listen,
Well,
why do you switch?
too unsafe for government employees.
Yes.
For their employees, not for the public.
Why do you switch tags on it if you know somebody's coming? Because you don't want them to see the car that you're actually gonna sell. You want to show some other car. No, you're gonna sell this car, and you're gonna sell it to a friend. Listen. If Harry Reid can accuse Mitt Romney of not paying his taxes for 10 years and then make him prove it, I'm saying that Rob Brandis was selling perfectly good cars to friends of his. Prove me wrong.
Well, all right. You may have some kind of feeling about this, and you could send us an email. We do get emails at badcounty at cpros.com, badcounty at cpros.com.
That's
and
right.
Maybe you've got another example of a crazy answer to it, and going back to Dave Toller, don't need to go back that far, but there was the time when Sandy Casanelli, gee, I keep talking about her, don't I? But it is a good example of how people weren't backing her up. And she was in her office talking with a constituent, and she had the door closed because the person wanted some safety. And I happened to be in that back room when Dave Toller comes up and puts his ear up against her door and is listening through the door. Now, there's no two ways to put that. That happened, and when he saw me, he just trotted out of the room. He didn't run out. He didn't run screaming out of the room. He trotted out of the room. Rika Brown heard about this, and she said, "Well, maybe he had indigestion."
Yeah,
Yes.
I do that all the time, Dale. Though when I go up against and put my head on the door when I have indigestion, it's a common thing, I'm sure.
Yes.
This is This is denial of reality. This is an explanation that makes only sense to certain partakers of certain things.
I'm totally clear on that topic right now.
That's craziness. And there are plenty of people who will say, well, I kind of understand why Keith Heck would accuse Dale and Mike and Dale, and put Mike first this time, of doctoring the videotape where he said that county workers are like little moles that sneak around and do lesser services. Well, they doctored that videotape. No, we didn't, and we proved that we didn't. But there are people who believe that maybe Keith Heck had a good reason to do so. What possible reason could he have? That's a good one.
Well,
For saying that you doctored the tape, you mean?
Yeah.
oh well, I mean, the obvious reason
it's
why
only self-preservation.
yes,
A
of course.
good reason, not a stupid reason. There's no honest reason that he could get away with that. And then when I confronted him and offered him cash and had it with me, if he could point out he said nothing. Nothing. That should have been the end of his political career. He should have been so embarrassed that he left Josephine County, never to see the light of day again. How can he hold up his head in public after saying such a thing and then proven so absolutely, totally wrong? How can anybody get away with that and still have people, well, Gospel Rescue Mission, is that where he learned this? That is denial of reality, not just by Keith Heck, but by the people who support him. What? How can you possibly support somebody that would say something like that? That's the mystery to me. He still has plenty. Oh yeah, I'm going to vote for that guy. What in the world? Oh, geez, I'm running against him. That's not the point. What in the world? What possible explanation can anyone have for that kind of behavior? or when somebody brings him cookies and he treats them like dirt. That doesn't make any sense, you guys.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. And that's one of the main reasons that we'll not want to see him as the new person in 17.
Well, I agree.
He's you look at their records. Any one instance sometimes are large, but when you add it all up month after month and year after year, you see a pattern where on each one of them they have their particular way they deal. And I'm still wondering, what have they done for the county? Yes, they keep the paper moving. They appear to keep the paper moving. But I don't see where that's, leadership. I don't see where they're listening to the public on issues. They seem to feel, I think, that because they're voted in, that we voted in their ideas and intelligence and all about them to do things and run things rather than to represent. And representing is the whole issue. If you ask somebody, well, why do you vote for this particular? Well, I think they'll represent me well.
Yes.
That's the idea. And so maybe they mix that all up and think, no, they're voting for me because I have superior intelligence and I do these X, Y, these things. And so that's what they're really voting for.
Well, and speaking of superior intelligence, let's just take a look at some superior intelligence here, okay? Here's
it's probably a speech by Mike.
Yes, it is. That's right. No, here we go.
A 2 is a fantastic rating, and it obviously doesn't come for free. It has to be paid for, and without an excellent rating like that, insurance rates become a little more expensive.
This was the different one than what I thought it was.
Yeah, I was wondering.
I was looking for Roy Lindsay's response, and I know that we played it one of the days. This is this was him responding to Dale coming up there and saying that he wasn't accusing the city of not caring about the water. He said that the commissioners said that they don't care about the water situation with the arsenic or whatever. And this thing was Roy Lindsay's response to that.
Right. He said, we got to stop this lying. What? He was talking about me. I wasn't lying. I was telling you what Cheryl Walker said.
Yeah, that was silly, and that's not the one I wanted.
We don't need videotape because we can do this right now, and Bill can be our audience. Okay. Mr. Jones, I am going to explain to you why it's important that you vote for the next property tax levy, which is, putting it in context, that's what he was talking about, next property tax levy. Now,
I need understanding on that.
Yes. Now, Mr. Jones, do you realize that if you vote for this property tax levy this time, as opposed to all the other times you were kind of stupid, that you will be helping the children of our community, Mr. Jones?
Oh, right, and then you'll say that I'm smart too, right?
Yeah, but what is your answer to that, Mr. Jones? Remember, he was saying what the other person answered.
Well, I just no new taxes. I'm not for taxes at all.
Now, wait a minute. Now, I want you to listen to me carefully, Mr. Hunker. Yes. I'm explaining to you that there are parents out there with young children, and they want to keep those young children safe, and therefore I really want you to think about this. Put your thinking cap on, and would you please answer us what you're going to do now?
No new taxes.
No new taxes.
There we go.
You need to have a better explanation than that, Mr. Hunker and Mr. Jones. All right, let me put it this way.
I hear nothing.
Let's suppose that these children are at home. I'm not making this up. This is what he said, that these children are at home and their parents are abusing them. And so if you vote for more new taxes, why, that's going to put an end to that on a worldwide basis, really.
We can take those kids away from their parents and make them wards of the state, at 3. Because
now what is your answer, you two miscreants?
I'm thinking no new taxes.
No new taxes.
Right.
Oh, now I've had it with you. I'm walking away. I obviously cannot. This is what he said. I obviously cannot communicate. He's making it all up.
We're not going to agree. We're clearly not going to agree on anything.
Wait, no, we're clearly not going to. That was the one honest thing that he said. He made up this entire conversation. You've seen Cheryl Walker do that. Why, I had a conversation with somebody the other day, and I said, well, what are you going to do about this? And they said, it's not my responsibility. You figure it out. There was nobody that said to Cheryl Walker, you figure it out. First of all, no one believes that she can figure it out. And second, that she sets up a straw man like Roy Lindsay was doing. This is just all nothing but just pure, unadulterated, no adultery, lies. It's wrong. Wrong. Why do you believe people like this? Oh, I like him. I kind of like him. This is our big problem. It's the vat of vanilla ice cream. Because you've got somebody like Larry Graves who does some good things. And then there's that fudge swirl in the middle, but it's not fudge. Still want to eat some of it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I wasn't paying any attention. No. I was just thinking about no new taxes.
No new taxes.
You guys are the problem with this community. Oh, no. Sarah put it very clearly. The reason that she said this, the reason that and I've spoken with many of them, I'm not going to tell you their names, but I've spoken with them. You can believe me when I tell you. The reason these companies are not moving to Josephine County, this is what she said, is because of badcounty.com.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I still couldn't hear anything he was saying because I was still thinking about no new taxes.
I don't want any new taxes.
Yeah, that's right. Yes.
How about no taxes at all, gentlemen? All right. On Sunday, now don't forget the weekly business session. Yeah, you're going to go to that. That will be on Tuesday at 1:30 instead of Wednesday at 9. Go figure. Sunday show will be another chance for you to vote and say your opinions, and we promise to show you some pretty controversial stuff where you're going to look at that and say, what? And then you can vote and say what you want, and the emails are going out to the commissioners. We've gotten some of the responses to the emails from the commissioners that you indicated how you felt about these videos, and the responses so far, you'll never guess what the responses were. I don't know what you're talking about. What are you talking about? I don't know. It's a mystery to me what you're talking about. What is it that you're talking about? And wasn't that a long time ago? I don't know what you're talking about either.
Perhaps they were thinking about no new taxes.
I don't think that's what they were thinking, Mike, but it would be nice.
All new taxes.
Oh, yes. All new taxes, yes. It probably has the same limiting effect on the brain.
It's the one more piece of denial that's going around lately, the Republican Party. Sorry, Bill.
What?
It's the rhinovirus. It's affecting all of them, yeah.
The rhinovirus.
See you guys later.